Hi, I'm John Trishler from Specialty Performance Parts, and today we're going to talk about our tap switch options to set the colors on your RGB lights. So many of these companies now, Rigid, Diodynamics, they're coming out with lights that have backlights, but they've decided to go the route of RGB, meaning that you can change or select the color that you want. And generally how you do that is you're going to tap that power or turn off and on switches to trigger that light to go into a program mode and change colors. And so, you know, in applications where you want to connect that to automatic triggers in your vehicle, like your parking lights or marker lights or running lights or tail lights, that makes it a little more difficult because you don't really have access to flip a switch to change colors. So we created these two tap switches that can go in line in the harnesses to change the colors. And we're going to show you how they work and the differences between the two, because they do work differently and there's a reason that we have two. So let's go ahead and get started on the video and show you how to use the tap switches. All right, so now you'll notice that we've got a Raptor behind us, and I'm going to take our connections here for both of our lights. I've got these on two different harnesses so we can compare the difference here between the two. So our two white wires on our two harnesses, this is this one, this is that one. We're going to plug that into a splitter here, and both of these are going to get power from our parking lights on the Raptor truck. So if you'll notice, when I hit the unlock button on the Raptor truck, the parking lights and the marker lights are going to come on, and so will these backlights, but they're not going to be the right color. Of course they didn't. So when we hit the unlock button and it turns on the parking lights, these backlights are going to come on. Now you see they're not the right color. They're blue. Now they're purple. They're going through the programming mode that they normally come with until you set the color. So they'll cycle through the colors. You're going to set that. Now, we've got two different tap switches, like I said. So we're going to go ahead and hook these up now, one to one side and one to the other. And I'm going to show you how to use them. So this is our inline tap switch. And you notice that it has a female connector and a male connector. Our female connector is going to plug into our marker adapter or our male version of our splitter, if we've got a splitter splitting to different lights and so on. And then our male version is then going to plug back into our harness that goes to our light. So I want you to pay close attention again, because you can't really screw this up. This is just an in-between. Again, here's the male connector. Here's the female connector on the harness. So male connector on the splitter or the marker adapter, female connector on the harness. They plug together. This goes in between. Female connector, male connector. So whether you're plugging in directly to the marker adapter or to a splitter that splits to multiple light harnesses, you're still going to be the male side to the female side. All right, so we're going to line that up. All right, so we're going to plug that in here. We're going to take the other end here, and again, it's in between. So our inline tap switch needs to go to the battery. See, it says battery plus. It gets its power from the battery. Well, we've got a battery here. This isn't the same battery as the vehicle. Normally you'd hook it up to the vehicle, but it's behind us. So this is getting power from the battery. Now, our other tap switch doesn't go to the battery. It only goes in line. So you'll notice the similarities. They both go in between your harness and your marker adapter or splitter, but the inline tap switch goes to the battery, the other one doesn't. So we're going to take this one, we're going to unplug our splitter, we're going to plug in our inline tap switch, and now you're going to notice our inline tap switch, if we push the button, it doesn't do anything to the light. The light's still off. The reason why the light's off is because it needs to get power from the vehicle to be able to interrupt it. When you push down on the inline tap switch, it cuts the power. When you let go, it lets the power flow. So if it's got power from the headlight adapter, when you push it down, it cuts the power. You let go, it lets the power come back on and flow normally, cut off and on. This is how you change the colors. You're going to tap this multiple times, and that's going to change the colors. When I hit the unlock button, you notice you got power. If I push the button, it's off. Let go, it's on. If I hit it multiple times, colors change. Get it to the color you want, leave it alone. Now when you unlock the car, power goes off, unlock the vehicle, power goes on. Notice our other one didn't change, right? Now, it's powered on. What happens when I push the tap switch? Nothing happens. It doesn't change colors. The reason why is because, like I said, it's the opposite of the inline tap switch. The inline tap switch has to have power coming to it from the marker adapter or whatever. There's no other power source. The battery powered tap switch gets power from the battery. So when you push it down, it gets power. The standard tap switch, when you push it down, it cuts power. So it's reversed. Now, our lights are off. When I push the button, we've got power. You let go, no power. So here's the problem. You have to think of these differently. When you've got power on the battery powered tap switch, you can't change the color. You need to make sure all the lights are off or the marker adapter is disconnected, no power. Because then when you push the tap switch, it's getting power from the battery. You go through, I passed it. You get the color you want, you hold it down for a few seconds, you let go, and it'll stay there. Now the next time you hit unlock, they're both amber. Now, I'm going to cover this really quick because I know this video is getting a little long for some of you. I just wanted to go slower so that I could make sure that everybody understood the difference. Why would you want the battery powered tap switch versus the inline tap switch? And the reason that we came out with the inline tap switch is because as these vehicles are getting more sensitive, when they are connected to the internal circuitry, like the parking lights, they are now on some of the newer ones, the Broncos and the F-150 Raptors and so on, they are starting to sense the power drop. So when you push the button on this inline tap switch with a small light, no problem. That's where you can use the standard inline tap switch. If you had a 40-inch light bar and you push the button on the inline tap switch, it cuts off the parking lights and the marker lights. They think that there's a power drop. They think that there's a failure. So you can never get to the point where you can even change the colors. The battery powered tap switch, however, because it's not going to drop the power from the circuit that it's running through, it's not going to fault like that. So that's where you need the battery powered tap switch for your bigger lights, bigger light bars, and so on. You actually can get to a point where not just the drop is going to trigger those, but the amount of power draw, like if you're drawing too much power from those circuits. And if you're drawing too much power from those circuits, you can actually take one more step, and I'll show you because we just had this here from a previous video, but you can actually take our inline relay adapter, and with this it wouldn't really matter whether you had the battery powered tap switch, you can use the standard one. But with our mini relay adapter, you're able to divert that power from the battery so that the parking marker lights just trigger that signal to the vehicle. And you can just plug that in just like so. And then your power and ground would go to the battery. And for more information on that, we've got a another video that we did talking about our relay adapters and our mini relay adapters. But basically, this allows you to put and draw as much power as you need to from your inline parking lights, marker lights, tail lights, etc., without having those limitations. But again, on the tap switches, the point of this video is to show you the differences between the two. As you can see, the battery powered tap switch to change colors pulls power from the battery. It means that you can't have any power coming to it. Parking lights, headlights, everything has to be off when you're trying to change colors, or they won't change. The inline tap switch, just the opposite. It won't work unless it's getting power from the vehicle. You push it down and it interrupts the power. So hopefully this has been informative and helped you to understand our two tap switch options to change backlight colors for your vehicle. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and visit us at spvparts.com to pick up your tap switches, other accessories, harnesses for your vehicle. And if you have questions, you don't know what you need, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you build any kind of custom kit or lighting system that you'd like. We'll see you on the next video.